So I made a terrible mistake on Saturday.
What'd you do?
New away kit came out. Love it. Thought it was so cool. Picked one up off the shelf. Saw it was a
Nice.
large. Brought it home. Was so excited. Tried it on. Skin tight. European large, not American large.
Rookie mistake. That's a mistake I would make.
Yeah, I felt that. Turns out I am very much not a medium. I felt like I could become an Olympic speed skater with this jersey on.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worse that you bought it in person or bought it online. If like you would have bought it online in the wrong size, or the mistake of seeing it, having it in your hand, and then still messing it up. Same thing happened last year. Casey made the same mistake with a polo. So and they did do a great job uh return and get a new one. So sure the customer service is just as good now as it was then.
Yeah. I blame Hummel. I don't know why they're listing the European sizes first, especially, and why the European sizes need to be one size smaller.
What's that say? What's that say about us?
I don't know. It kind of offends me that I'm a medium or a large in the US, but an extra large in Europe. Welcome back to Forza Naples. I'm Ian, joined as always by Paul. Paul, we are less than 1 week away from the USL League One kicking off, and our FC Naples team taking on Fort Wayne FC in the home opener Saturday night under the lights at the Paradise Coast Sports Complex. Are you excited?
Super excited, super bummed I won't be there. Got the good news that we are getting beer tokens again this year, so I will have to find a proxy to get those for me. But awesome that it's, after a long off season, it's match week one, and awesome that we get to open up at home in year two.
Yeah, super excited. Was lucky enough to pick up my beer tokens on Saturday,
Nice.
thanks to the wonderful season ticket holder open practice event that the club put on. Great time, and once I parked and was walking into the stadium, it felt like such a long off season, but at the same time, I felt like we were just leaving after beating Omaha in penalties in the playoffs. So it really did it flew by, and was able to get another FC Naples Blonde at the practice at 10:45 a.m., which was great. It was fun to see the team in action. Couple new signings, really cool to see them get to play. Excited for the first game and to see this whole team, in a competitive match for the first time this Saturday against Fort Wayne. Anything you're most looking forward to this coming weekend?
Yeah, looking forward. I got a new couch over the weekend. So shout out to Costco, delivered it. And looking forward to lounging on the couch and watching the match on ESPN Plus, I hope. If it's not there, I'm going to have to do some homework to find where the games are going to be streaming this year. But probably something we should know for spreading the good news to the people. But yeah, awesome that they hosted the event. I talked to Reese about it, and just bummed living so far away that I can't participate in all the great things that the club puts on.
Yeah, great event for the season ticket holders. Great to meet so many of the players. Great to see so many of the new signings in action. Really, it really got me excited for Saturday night, and my whole family too. My wife and my 2-year-old. I think. Well, he doesn't. He just loves running up and down the hills in the beer garden. But we left that really pumped for Saturday night, which I think was the whole purpose of it, and just super excited for the season to finally get underway.
Yeah, that picture of Thomas you sent, I was like, that could be like a staple for FC Naples, encouraging families to come out to the event. It was awesome seeing you with the fam there. I know you guys go to a lot of games together. Was it well attended? Did a lot of people go?
Yeah, a lot of season ticket holders, a lot of familiar faces there. Kind of cool to see these people that you kind of come to know from
Hmm.
these games. So a couple people that we don't really see outside of FC Naples games, maybe every other Saturday. You
Yeah.
pass them in the beer garden, you celebrate goals with them and stuff. It's like, oh hey, how's it going? Good to be back.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
like
cool to see this community.
yeah, it'll be cool in like 10, 15 years, right? Like having the tickets. Like I know, my family's got the Blades tickets, and there's like the one guy that sits one row, 3 seats over from me that always shows up to every game in the other team's jersey. And, that's all. I don't know much about them, but hopefully, the FC Naples community is a little closer. You get to know who's who. But honestly, I was thinking you're talking about the offseason feeling short. The season's kind of like perfectly timed because it kind of, as it gets late in the year, you're competing with great college football. So now it's like the college football playoffs, the NFL playoffs, carry you over. And it's kind of the same thing people say about baseball. And it's like, all right, calendar turns to February and it's time to lace them up and get ready for a new season. So it does help versus, some of the other big sports where you got to take the summer off and you're like, 3 months, no sports. So, all summer watching every Saturday, watching the team play will be super exciting.
Yeah, having that ESPN Plus, like you said, will be cool to watch them away and then just go into the home games. So happy to have it back and just such a fun time. Just really can't wait for Saturday. Got to go look at the team. Just overall, I'm feeling great. Feeling really good about this season.
Yeah,
It's
really, really fortunate that our match day one is against Fort Wayne and not another team that is no longer with us.
Yeah, so we have to take a moment of silence or pour one out here for the South Georgia Tormenta. They're going on a hiatus this season. Unfortunate for the league. They had won the championship a few years ago, so it's sad to see them not be part of this season. I guess money kind of dried up with the ownership, and kind of they'll be missing out on this season, but hoping to be back next season. It seems like from everything we've read.
Yeah, kind of funny. Like, I feel like we know a lot about this league, and sometimes I go to do research and just can't find a lot of information about it. But super unfortunate that 2 weeks before the season they're going to call it quits, and most rosters filled up. And I don't know if South Georgia Tormenta had anybody worth poaching, but if we got a hole or two in the lineup, that's a whole team worth of players um, that are now free agents and could be picked up by the squad. So be interesting not only for our team but teams around the league. Is any of those guys gonna find homes for this season? Um, yeah, I think that they were a team. They got into the playoffs. They were pretty solid. 13, 10, and 7 last year, 45 points, just 2 points behind us in the playoffs. Like they were a solid team. So I'm sure they have some players worth playing, trying to keep in the league. So I'll be curious to see how that situation develops. You know, we do have a lot of new teams coming into the league. Hopefully they can come back next year. Who knows what that holds, but sad for a small town losing their club.
Yeah, it was a good club, and it seemed on paper like they had assembled a really good team this year. A lot of really good USL one talent that they had picked up. So really sad for the players, and you've got to feel for the players. 2 weeks ahead of the season starting, they announced, "Hey, we're not going to be fielding a team," and now you've kind of left these guys left stranded to go. Like you said, all these rosters are already, teams have been building these rosters since January, and now they're all pretty much full. So to have that happen is unfortunate. But yeah, a lot of talent on that team, and we'll see what we can do, kind of to pick up maybe a couple players here and there. To just see what happens. This was a team that I think we beat them at home, and then we lost to them on the road on a really hot midweek night. But I know picked up Taylor Gray, he's signed with FC Naples and previously played with Tormenta. So glad we could get him before everything seemed to go bust.
Wonder if he saw the writing on the wall and said, "I need to find a new club."
I mean, the club posted a whole video of them training on the beach earlier this week, and I want to know how many other players in USL League One saw that and were like, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing here, playing in pick your random city up north when these guys are down in Naples training on the beach right now?"
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a hometown advantage um, in these cities. And I think as the league continues to develop, you'll see certain names continue to be powerhouses. I think it's the same reason the Everblades have continued success because if you could play in any city, and maybe that's a conversation for another episode. I I think if you could live in any city, Naples is right up there at the top, if not the number one spot.
Yeah, I think we're both a little biased because we both grew up here,
Fair, fair
born and
enough.
raised here in Naples. But I don't disagree with you. It's there's not many other cities in the league that I would put up against Naples.
Yeah, and the team folding kind of rolls us into another tough situation with the USL as a whole. Um, and kind of what's going to happen with the CBA that the championship is struggling with. And based on what I read today, it seems like that season could be in jeopardy. I think that, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it, but I think that it's a really bad time for the league and the players to be fighting with the opportunity for the growth this year. Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's an interesting other development inside of our organization.
yeah, really exciting time across the board for the USL, and it's like you said, really unfortunate timing for this CBA and these disputes to be going on. And it sounds like these disputes have been going on for quite some time. The news that came out this week was the Players Association authorized whatever means necessary, I think, which included a possible strike on week one, which is, I think, the one thing nobody wants that supports the team. When you look at some of the asks, and we don't want to get too far into it because neither of us are labor attorneys, and we did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Shout out to the six of you that just got that joke from those old Holiday Inn commercials. But we don't want to get too deep into trying to break down the wants and needs of both the league and the Players Association. But it's a World Cup year. We always see a big spike in soccer ratings this year, and just like you said, really unfortunate timing. And you really hope that those two sides can come to some sort of agreement to keep playing this year. And with Pro Rel coming up too in a couple years, it's just gonna it's calling for a lot, and there's gonna be a lot of change across the USL, and you don't want to see a war break out between the players and the clubs. Nobody wants to strike. It seems like we're headed for the same thing in baseball in a couple next season. But yeah,
Yeah, I think the big, I wonder what type of factor the pro rel is playing in this decision because that's one of the big things they talk about in the MLS is why it's never going to even be put onto the table because of how much money it costs to own the team. So I obviously the fees are drastically different at the USL Championship versus the MLS when teams are coming in. I think the San Diego team that Manny Machado helped buy was over $1 billion. Not really sure why, but I'm imagining if you're saying, hey, you could be in a second tier next next year or in the future, that changes the right structure. And I'd be interested to see how it works in England, in other leagues around the world. Obviously, the structure has been in place for decades, so it's a little different. But labor disagreements are never I've never heard of in soccer elsewhere around the world.
yeah, I think there's a lot less restrictions and clubs can kind of do whatever they want, where this US model across all the major sports are so big on collective bargaining and
Hmm.
the league kind of being the head and then distributing everything out amongst the clubs, amongst the players. There's so many more rules involved here, where soccer, it seems, or soccer in Europe, all it seems is you've got your financial fair play, and that's that.
Yeah, at
Where
the
here
end of
we've
the yeah, at the end of the day, right? If somebody doesn't want to play in a league, they just replace them with one of the other 75 teams. Um, they just promote the next best team or whatever. So yeah, I guess that structure is I'm sure it took decades to get to where we are today with how European soccer looks. So, kind of just a shame though, because these negotiations are never fun. Baseball's been talking about it for weeks, months. I think everybody, when they came to the agreement in 2020, saw 2026 going to be a lockout. At the end of the season, was going to be a lockout. The WNBA is going through it. Um,
we just
and the
saw with
bad
the
PR.
ECHL too,
Yep.
with the Florida Everblades and their players kind of coming together, and it's uh it's tough for both the league and the players, and we feel their struggles.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at what the players are making and, don't want to divulge too many details, but, these guys that are playing in these leagues love to play the game. That's what they're doing it for at this level. They're not sitting in mansions, which is why it makes it more fun because the passion is really there because that's why they're playing and they're trying to make it to the next level or whatever, and living off barely a livable wage. Some people would say it's not. But in a league that doesn't, struggles with the revenue, it's hard. It's hard because you feel for both sides. And I know we're not going to get too deep into it, but you feel for both sides. You see why both sides are kind of drawing lines in the sand. But hopefully it doesn't impact League One this year, but I could foresee that pushing relegation, promotion, relegation, and then that makes us no different than the MLS. And I think that also hinders the league, down the road.
Yeah, and just to be clear too for our listeners at home, this is only affecting the USL Championship. It appears the USL League One collective bargaining agreement is good through the end of next season, from what we've been able to find online. And what you said too about these guys loving the game, I gotta give a shout out to who my new favorite player in the league that doesn't play for FC Naples. Simon
Mm.
Fitch is his name. He played for Richmond last year. I believe he played every single minute of the Richmond Kickers games while also working at an accounting firm. As a fellow accountant, I'm ready to go try out for a team. I
Yeah,
think
do
I
you
could do
think you
that.
could put in a 90-minute shift after 8 to 10 hours of auditing a country club?
That is questionable. Probably not. I don't think my fitness is where it needs to be to do that. That might be a little tough.
See, I don't think the games would be the tough part. I think it's
It's the
getting up to go to
practices.
practice, right? You're
I
going
mean,
to
I could
practice, you're
pull
up
an
early.
Allen Iverson and just not practice.
Yeah, I think skill levels just a little different between you and Allen Iverson, but you could, and I'm sure that there is a local rec league team that could one day play FC Naples in the U.S. Open Cup.
Yes, yes. Our firm's been trying a long time to start the asset kickers as a team.
What a great beer league soccer team for the company there. That would be an awesome. That's if that gets off the ground, sign me up for purchasing a jersey.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it. I think we got a few more things to get done before that, but yes. So shifting gears back to, USL League One, we kind of wanted to take a minute here and on a lighter note, make some bold predictions that we know we are always so accurate about. I think with the Jägermeister Cup last year, I think I got one group winner right. I think you might have gotten two. I don't remember for sure, but who do you like this year, Paul? Who give us your, let's say, top three. We'll go regular season only. You don't have to give a particular order, but who do you like? Who are you expecting to be in the top three come the end of the season this year?
Yeah, I'm glad we shut this down to the top three. That kind of allows me to be a homer without being unrealistic. Right? Because what type of support group would we be showing if we didn't pick FC Naples to finish top of the table? However, as a uncredentialed journalist, I don't know where the conflict of interest lies. So coming in with the top three, I'm obviously FC Naples is going to be one of the top three on my list, based on really not knowing anything about any other club. So the club I know the most about, I will pick to come in the top three. I'm gonna ride one Knoxville. I think the way they played last year, if that team's put together anyway similarly, they're gonna, we played them tough 3 times. I think separated by 2 goals. That team deserved to win the championship if it wasn't going to be us. So going to keep them in the top three. And then you got to give some love to New York, the Cosmos. I think that's a team storied franchise. I think they're going to start off on the right foot. And going to throw out the OLI. You got to have a team that I think the Sarasota squad, for many of the same reasons Naples last year, I'm going to use a lot of the same logic to expect them to be top three, top four at the end of the year.
I like it. I like it. Um, yeah, I'm with you on Knoxville. I had them in my top three. I mean, Naples, obviously. Sorry, I should have started with them. I've obviously got Naples in the top three. I think we are poised to repeat again. I think we're going to see a better back line. I really trust in that. Everyone at the club seems to think we've kind of upgraded across the board, and I hope that comes true. It seems like our 2 new center backs, at least from what I saw on Saturday, seem really solid. Midfield changes and tweaks seem, again, really impressive. I think we've kind of got our style of play developed. The only thing that really concerns me, like we talked about last week, is where are the goals going to come from. But I do think we've got a couple of proven goal scorers we've brought in, and I think they're poised to have a big year. It's not going to be easy replacing Carson Henderlong, but I think we'll find someone who can do it. And if not, our style of play is just, I think we're going to play through, hit teams on the counterattack, get the ball out wide, put balls into the box, and then it should just be tap-ins for goals. And, how hard can that be? Knock on wood. But I think we'll...
Speaking of Carson Henderlong, if the championship goes on strike, could be a great loan opportunity for the club. A guy that knows the system. I'm going to put that out there, knowing no inside information whatsoever, but could be big.
Yeah, would love to have him back and fit right into this squad. But obviously, put Naples in my top three. The next one, I'm with you on Knoxville. I think they proved themselves again last season. I think they'll be back strong again this season, ready to contend. And then the other team I had is Spokane. Spokane's made back-to-back finals. They lost both of them. The team, they're a year older than Naples, so they've already been to 2 finals. I think this could be the year that they get it done. They seem to have rebuilt and kind of strengthened up their squad a bit. So I think they could potentially be another top 3. OLI, outside looking in, I think Portland's going to be pretty good this year. I think they were really good last year. I think they might have underachieved almost for that squad that they have built, and it seems like they've just strengthened it. Our boy Breck Evans, center back from last season, signed with Portland. I think they've got something going up there in Portland. Maybe it's all that LL Bean money, or maybe they're just they're up to something up there. So I really like them to be top 3, maybe 4th come the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Another fan base that rivals Naples for one of the best fan bases in the league would not surprise me in the slightest if, we're talking in November, us versus Portland in a championship game. Would not surprise me in the slightest, but it could also be 2 random teams that nobody listening to this podcast knew were in the league, as we talked about last week. So
Yeah, so Naples was just the first team that not in the first year of the season to host a playoff game. So top four host a playoff game. You technically had East Lansing or someone, I believe, hosted a playoff game the first year of the league's inception. Naples was the first expansion team to host a playoff game. So traditionally that top four has been reserved for the teams that have been around for a while and haven't been, first year teams in the league. So your Sarasota prediction's pretty bold. You're asking for someone to repeat what Naples was able to do last year.
Yeah, them and New York. So that's not fair that you withheld that information when we talked about this. So, but I'm gonna ride with the ponies I picked in the stable.
I like it. I like it. Who do you have for your the race for the wooden spoon? So the wooden spoon goes to the worst team in the league. Who do you have in your bottom three this season?
Yeah, so bottom three, looking at Avialta, the more I learn about that area, the more I'm like, who would ever want to go play there? Um, you're in California, but you're not in LA. You're so far outside of LA. Who would want to play there? Um, so I'm picking them. Going with Westchester. I think that they want to defend the title. If you're winning trophies, good or bad, I think you want to stay after that. I'm going to go with Corpus. Same reason. Wouldn't want to live there, and I think it's going to be hard to build a team in Texas. I think their positive will be the home field advantage. I think that's going to be another team with crazy home road splits, but I would, if I had to pick one, I'm going with Westchester. Not sure if you have the information on back-to-back Wooden Spoon winner, but that's where I'm going.
I do not handy, but I also had Westchester in my bottom three.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sorry, Westchester. I don't know how it's gonna get any better for them. Again, a team I've not heard too much about, like not heard many rumblings. Reading about the USL has put out like midfielders, young players, defenders to watch, and I haven't seen much of anyone from Westchester on there. So sorry, Westchester. I know, and they actually open up against our top three team, Knoxville, on Saturday. So watch, Westchester's going to go out and pummel them like 4-0 now after we've picked Knoxville to finish top three and Westchester to finish in the bottom. But yeah, I'm with you on Westchester. New York Cosmos are the other one that I had, mainly because they play in New Jersey, but they're called New York. Don't like that.
Good reasoning.
Yep. Solid reasoning all around. Again, a team I've not really heard too much about. All I know is it's the Cosmos. They're playing off that nostalgia brand. I think that's all they really got going for them. The other team I had is a recurring team, and I'm going to go with Charlotte here. Again, Charlotte, I've not heard too much about who they've signed or what they've done in this offseason. So that's kind of why I'm going. I don't know what Charlotte Independence is up to. I did see their kits were announced. They looked pretty good. The blue and red hoops, really like that. But I haven't really heard too much about who they're bringing in, and the players that I saw they signed, I don't really know. So Charlotte, sorry, you're in my bottom three.
Yeah, and to circle back to Westchester, they did have the Golden Boot winner, Obergon. I don't know how to say his name. I think we helped him win that Golden Boot last year with that 3-3 draw, but he's now playing for Brooklyn in the championship. So another guy, unless the championship goes on strike and they get him on loan, more likely to loan out to the Cosmos. But that was their only highlight last year. And if you're saying there's been no chatter, I have a hard time believing that they're going to be able to turn it around this season.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Sorry, Westchester. Again, watch them probably go out and like win the league this year, and then they can clip this and play it all they want.
We're giving them bulletin board material.
Yes. What about a most improved team? So a team that didn't necessarily make the playoffs last year that you think is going to make the playoffs this year, or maybe like you said with Sarasota, a new team that you really like to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the first domino in the craziness that was the last match day. The first domino that fell was Ford Madison losing um, on the final match day. A win would have put them into the playoffs. So to be that close, and they started off really poorly, never really got the momentum going, but a storied team. I like them to bounce back this year. It's honestly the team I know most about, or I've learned the most about, other than Portland Hearts of Pine, that is an FC Naples. So, um, sounds like with their background and their history, they haven't been bad for long. And I could be completely wrong on that, but I'm gonna pick them to go from 10th to the top eighth.
Yep, I think I had also picked Madison, but I'm actually going to go Greenville here. Greenville didn't make the playoffs last year. They kind of put a run together towards the end of the season. Came up a little short, but I like Greenville to I like Greenville to make the playoffs this year, become a most improved team. They dropped a lot of close games, a lot of 2-1s, a lot of 3-2s last season, and I think they're kind of poised again to make that step up, especially with all the new teams coming in. A lot of history there. I think they're moving into their own stadium this season, so that's exciting for them. Not going to play on the Furman's football field anymore. Exciting stuff happening in Greenville, so I think this could be a big year for them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there that say a new stadium brings more fans and success. A very popular podcaster I listen to always says that that's what happens when you move into a new stadium. So we'll see if that happens.
If you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come.
The other team that I really like is expansion team Boise. They seem to have, Jake Dangler, I know, has signed with them. A lot of their signings I've heard of from following USL 1. So I think they might have a pretty good team together. Again, moving into a brand new stadium, first year expansion team. They kind of give me a big Naples vibe from last year too. So I think they could be poised to have a big first season in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we looked it up. Are they playing on the blue turf?
They
Have
are
we learned
not.
this?
They've got their own stadium. It looks like they're
Hmm.
building. It would be cool if they played on the blue turf,
Would be
but
a lot cooler if
no.
they did.
If they were playing on the blue turf, I think we'd have to put them down to win the league, right?
Win the league. Yeah, absolutely agree on that.
What about this season overall? We talked a lot about looking forward to Saturday, and we'll work on a full match preview for that match on Saturday against Fort Wayne. But is there a game on the calendar in particular that you have circled that you're really looking forward to?
Ian, I don't have one. I have three that I have circled, and I will tell you why. The first one, obviously, at OLI is Saturday. Just new season, new hope. So that's number one, obviously. But I'm going to go in order. March 18th, U.S. Open Cup. I think that's my favorite of the cups. The history behind it. Want to make a run. Would be really awesome to go deep enough that we are playing an MLS team. However, that's going to look this year. I know it's different than years past, but the Red Force coming from Miami over to Naples, I think that would be an awesome way to start that cup off. Because it's not the Jägermeister Cup, I don't have one of those highlighted because I care just a little bit less now. But I'm going to go May 2nd against One Knoxville. Um, our first chance at redemption against them. I think we owe them one. We lost on a controversial penalty kick at home last year. We draw with them at the road on the road, and then in the playoffs, the what I feel like is one of the most controversial calls in sports, up there with the no pass interference call for the Saints. No handball in the box that would have sent us to penalties against them. Uh, would love to be at that game. And the last one's kind of a TBD because we do play them on the road first. That's our Chattanooga Red Wolves. Saw them last season, the red card. First game, super chippy. We were so excited for match day 2 against them. not as crazy, not as many fireworks. So I'll be curious to see if that stays as a rival or if that was just a one-off game and we have to find a new rival. Um, and it can't be Knoxville until we beat them. So those are the games that I got highlighted and circled on the calendar.
Yeah, I really like all of those. Playing Knoxville, it's a similar timing almost to last season too, where we played them pretty early on because we were 9-0 going into the Knoxville game, and had that heartbreaking
No
draw.
defeats. No defeats. We weren't 9
No
0. We had
defeats.
no
No
defeats.
defeats. Sorry, undefeated.
Yeah, and that was supposed to be the game that would have given us the record, if I remember correctly.
It would have. It would have. So yeah, I like how that penalty kick also becomes more and more controversial the more we talk about it.
Which one, the first time or the second time?
Yes, both.
Okay. Yeah. Fair.
It's right up there with the hockey. The Sabres, the Sabres Star Stanley Cup. The skate was in the crease. We'll keep hyping it up. I really like that game. On my calendar, what I've circled is our first game against Sarasota. We still need to come up for a name for that derby, right, against Sarasota. April 11th at home, we open up with them. Expansion team this year. We played them in the Open Cup last year. A narrow, I believe it was 2-1 win to us in extra time. I think we scored a stoppage time winner, Kevin O'Connor, I want to say. I remember watching it on YouTube and getting really excited. That was early on last season, so excited to see them again, excited to kind of build this rivalry with our fellow Florida teams.
Yeah, I think that was the second game of the year, if I remember correctly. Similar to this year where you open with the league game and then go to the U.S. Open. I guess we have two matches before.
It was third game, and we did win 2-1. I've got it pulled up. Kevin O'Connor, 90+1 with a game winner. I think it came off of a corner, too. We were the better team in that game, from what I remember. But, yeah, 2-1.
To get that close to a cup set, I mean, Sarasota's got to have that game circled on their calendar.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be ready for it. And, it's one of those that you kind of hope Sarasota brings a little crowd down and get a little atmosphere going between the two sides. Excited for that one in this budding I-75 Southwest Florida Snowbird Derby. I guess we already have the Snowbird Derby with Westchester, but, I don't know what you want to call it. Some sort of derby. Ringling versus Collier. I don't know. We'll work on it. The next game I have is actually in the tournament formerly known as the Jägermeister Cup. Since it's no longer the Jägermeister Cup, I believe it's the Pricks Tires Cup.
Yep.
Which is very sad. Could have come.
Are you gonna buy more Pricks tires because of this sponsorship deal?
I do want to know, last year we were able to take shots of Jaeger at the Jägermeister Cup games, which we did.
Yes.
Will we be able to buy Pricks tires at the game? That's what I'm wondering. Maybe it's like a buy 3 tires, get the 4th one free? I don't know.
Pretty sure they do that always, but yes, that is good to know of what promo. Maybe they'll bring like a NASCAR and you can change a tire or something. Is their promo?
Yes. I don't know much about Pricks tires, but excited to learn more about them as the season progresses. But it's our first game in that tournament against Sporting Jacksonville, so that's an expansion side in the championship from Jacksonville. I think they're gettable. Sporting Jacks. It's one of those that I've kind of got circled, excited for. Always fun to beat a championship side. We did it last year against Charleston. Excited to see what we can do there. The last game I have circled is probably the away day that I'm also most looking forward to, and that's going to be against the Rowdies on July 11th. Going up to Tampa, I want to finally beat these guys, and I think we can do it in the PrinksTires.com Super Cup. It'll be, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself again already, because last year I was ready to eat a hot dog for every single goal we scored. Then we didn't score any against the Rowdies on the 4th of July. But similar timing again this season. But, Love that rivalry. Love that they're kind of still that league ahead of us. Would love to beat the Rowdies, especially at their place. Would be a lot of fun.
That might have been my best memory is just you eyeing the hot dog table and just having a hot dog ready all game to eat and not being able to eat the hot dog. So that was a fun time, fun game. We'll have to find something fun for you to do when you're in Tampa.
I was very nervous when I saw the size of the hot dogs weren't like a normal sized hot dogs. It was like a full foot long hot dog that I was going to have to eat if we scored a goal. Was a little terrifying. We didn't score any. I ate the hot dog after the game anyway because I was hungry because I'd been saving room for it. So that was we're bringing back some rough memories from last season now.
This is one of those times I wish we had video with the podcast because I just can't control the laughter on this one. I that was such a fun day. The only downside of the day was the result and you not getting to scarf down a few hot dogs.
Yeah, it was very disappointing. Yeah, looking forward to being back in the beer garden. Maybe more hot dogs in my future. Who knows? But looking back to being forward in the beer garden on Saturday. Paul, anything else you want to add before we wrap up and head out?
Well, it's match week. Are we going to give our predictions?
Oh, I was going to save that for a possible match day preview pod. But yeah, let's do them now. What do you like for this upcoming Saturday, game 1?
The more I bet on soccer, the more I like both teams to score over 2.5. Give me FC Naples 2-1 in this one. Don't know the team well enough to know who's going to win or score our winner, but I like a 2-1 result. Get 3 points to start out the year.
I like it. I think I'm going to go 2-0. Again, not sure. We'll do our research this week and hopefully come back with a preview pod. But I'm going to go 2-0, and one of the goals to FC Naples. One of the goals will be a header because I was watching them during this open training session, whipping some crosses and saw some great headers. So I think one of the goals will be a header, 2-0, FC Naples. It's going to be my prediction.
Awesome. Well, I wish I could be there to support the team, support the club, but I will be leading the, not sure what my fan club is going to be called out here in the Bay Area. That will be consistent of me and potentially my fiance if I can drag her to watch more soccer than I already forced her to watch. So we'll be supporting the club. Maybe you can ship out a case of FC Blondes for me. That I'm sure if we talk to the club, we can make that happen for me on Saturday. But looking forward to it. A new season, new hope. Can't wait.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I will be at the match, so if you see us, if you see me, come say hi. Love talking to everyone. Love talking FC
Will
Naples.
you be wearing your skin tight shirt? Is that how people recognize you?
No, I have already emailed the merchandise team to see if I can swap that out for the correct size, I should add. So I will not be competing in the Olympic speed skating in that jersey on Saturday. But looking forward to Saturday, looking forward to being back. If you see us, come say hi. If you see me, come say hi because Paul won't be there. Follow us on social media, ForzaNaplesPod. Email us, ForzaNaples239@gmail.com. You can follow us on Bluesky. You can follow us on Reddit. Join the FC Naples subreddit. But yeah, looking forward to it. Get in touch with the show. We love hearing from you and love hearing new season, new us too. So if you guys want to hear more, if you want to hear less, just get in touch with the show. Looking forward to Saturday. We will see you all there. Until then, come on Naples.